Hey guys, this is Tom Orr. I'm here with Kirk Barton, Marc Givler, BuckeyesScoop.com. Just watched a morning of really interesting offensive lineman and defensive lineman action here at Ohio State camp. We just want to go through. There were 5 guys we wanted to tell you guys about that we thought, these are kind of names to know. Some national prospects, someone who we showed up today not necessarily thinking was going to be someone we were going to be watching and was like, oh, okay, like that is absolutely someone, a name to know. So let's start with Marc Givler. Marc's going to talk about the defensive guys. Kirk will talk about the offensive guys. He played a little offensive line. We feel he's qualified for this and only this. Marc, let's start with Hero Kanu. He is from California, but not originally from California, but a very impressive defensive tackle prospect.
Yeah, super explosive, strong kid, really strong kid. Sizing him up and watching him, I think he could play the one. We were talking about, a lot of these guys are chasing or 3-tech guys, and I think he's quick enough to play there. But we know Larry Johnson likes explosive guys, and I think he's going to be able to bulk up enough to play either or, kind of be a Haskell Garrett type of guy who can kind of play either or. He had a really strong day. He was not as raw as I thought he would be. He was leading the drills for Larry Johnson over here, and so I thought he was as advertised.
And you never want to read too much into just the little soft factor stuff that you can see just seeing a kid in person. But as you said, he was the first one through every single drill. He was the one demonstrating for everyone. He was also it's very easy to be the big man on campus and the guy who's got the nice 247 ranking and yada 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 and I'm too good for everyone. Leading the cheers for everyone else in his group. Just couldn't have been more excited for everyone. Just came across like a really genuinely good kid, like a good high makeup kid, the kind of kid that Larry Johnson loves to have in his room.
Yeah, he was all energy. It was all positive energy, and it felt like he was taking the coaching. A couple times, Larry Johnson commented, that's what we're talking about, type of thing. And so he was taking the coaching well and worked really hard. Didn't come here as the prima donna, highly ranked kid that didn't need to work hard through drills. And so I was impressed.
All right, and so first offensive lineman we want to talk about is Josh Padilla, 2023, someone that a couple people on our staff have said might be the next commit, whether that's today or a week from now or a month from now or 3 months from now. What did you see out of Josh Padilla today?
He's stout. Some of the staff that I talked to said around him a lot of pad elf line. Had a nice day. Had some problems with the bull rush a little bit, but he's a good player. He's tough. I think that these camps, he wouldn't shine as much at a camp like this as he would in an actual game where he can run block and be physical. But he had a nice day, led all the drills, something like Marc mentioned is important. Had good pop on the sled. They're always looking at all these little drills to see what they can get out of him. But he had a nice day. I think he'd be a great player here. Again, Pat Elfline had a sensational career here. Won the Remington. He was on year 5 in the league, year 6 in the league. And I think that's the trajectory this kid would be. When
you're looking at him, are you any concern about foot placement or quick enough feet to play, hand placement, any of that kind of stuff that you're looking at from a more technical perspective?
He's a stout center. They had him running all center, so I'm sure that's what they're looking at him at in the one-on-one drills. But I think he's physically, he comes from a good program in Heber High Swain, so he's developed, and I think he's a guy that would play for us and play well.
Okay. Marc had another guy that we talked about who came from Missouri, 2023. Someone in Nevada put on the board last night, hey, there's another name to know for tomorrow. Chandavian, what's his last name?
Chandavian Bradley.
Chandavian Bradley. Watched him a lot. He's obviously a lot thinner than, definitely not an inside guy. No. Definitely an edge guy. What did you see out of him today?
Super athletic, super long, probably 50 pounds away from his playing weight in college. Coming off the corner, great first step. Made a couple real nice inside moves and one-on-ones that kind of surprised me. Still going through drills, you could tell, he needs to sink his hips a little better. He's just playing a little bit too upright. Larry Johnson was really coaching him hard. So a guy whose best football is 3-4 years away, but you can't really teach the frame and the get off and the quickness that he has. So he's an interesting player, and we'll see if they offer him. He's getting some good offers lately, and he's going to probably go in there and talk to the coaches. So we'll see what happens. But it's not. People are going to look at the video we have and they're going to think he's way too thin. And right now, sure, he is. But if you saw guys like Josh Kando and Josh Sweat and guys like that, when they were sophomores in high school, you would have never imagined they would get as big as they did. So he's where he needs to be physically. Wherever he goes, they'll put the weight on.
All right, Hero, who we talked about earlier, the defensive tackle, he was part of an international contingent of guys, a group of guys coming here. One of them was an offensive tackle, and again, sometimes you come to these camps and you can just, even if you don't know who the players are, you can just look at certain guys and go oh, that guy, he's just got the frame, he's just got the build, okay, that's a guy. Yeah. So who was the guy at offensive tackle?
Lucas Simmons. Marc did some great research, and he's from Sweden. He's going to Clearwater Academy. He's coming into his junior year, but I was really impressed with him. He's extremely raw, but his length and his wingspan is something that's such a luxury when you play tackle. In terms of him, he's 6'7", maybe almost 6'8". There were a couple times early in one-on-one drills he got beat, but because his arm length is so long, he was able to redirect. It was unbelievable. And Sud, I could tell, really liked him. His coach said, "That's a perfect rep. It's a good rep." And I was impressed by him. He's got really nice ankle flexion, gets in his stance real easy, moves well. But again, I couldn't imagine if he was at he's going to Clearwater Academy, a top-tier program where they can really develop him, get him in the weight room, coach him up well. Nothing against European coaching, but I still don't know anything about it. But he looks like he's been coached. He got out of his stance easy. His pass up was smooth. So he's a nice piece of clay. He reminds me a lot of like an Orlando Brown Jr., who a lot of people weren't high on. He got dropped by Tennessee late. I loved the kid. I actually took him around campus with his mom. His mom's from Akron, and but he was a 6'8" kid. He had great genetics. He's heavy. He's extremely heavy. He's 380. This kid's the opposite. He's kind of right at that nice peak where he can gain about probably 25 pounds of muscle and it just be staunch. Orlando had to lose about 80 pounds, but he's the left tackle for the Chiefs. And he's a two-time Pro Bowler. The other guy you reminded me of was like a Taylor Decker. Taylor going into his junior year probably wasn't the Hulk by any stretch, but he was a big kid that could bend and had long arms and could pass block. Because if you can pass block and tackle, you can make a ton of money, up into the NFL. So I really like the kid. He's got a Florida State offer. I just know line coaches. I know when they see that piece of clay and that ankle flexion and that flexibility, that is something that it really excites them. And if you get him with Coach Schmick, he could be a very good player, I believe. Yeah,
it sounds like he's someone who is not, clearly not ready to play year one, maybe year two, but you look at the flexibility, you look at the bend, you look at the arm length, the pieces are there that if they wanted to take him as maybe a little bit more of a project, a 2-3 years down the line kind of guy, maybe that's a...
Yeah, and that's the good thing about him just finishing his sophomore year is he has 2 more years of high school to go, and he gets with a good program and, really, intensifies his strength training and keeps his flexibility. He could be a guy for sure.
All right, and Marc, last guy I wanted to talk to you about was, the program, you didn't necessarily know the name coming into today. Program is Cathedral High School in Indianapolis. Terry McLaurin, Pete Werner, this is a program that Ohio State knows very well. And then halfway through the drills, you're get some pictures of the guy in the gold helmet because he's a guy.
Yeah. Kendrick Gilbert, got moved up towards the front of the drills midday by Larry Johnson. That's always a good sign. But big, athletic, 6'5", 265 right now, huge wingspan. Really explosive for his size. I think he's probably going to grow into a defensive tackle. I don't know how they're going to keep him under 295 long term, but worked really hard, looked great. Got an offer from Notre Dame about a week ago, his parents told me, so he's starting to get a lot of steam going, and I don't think he's ranked anywhere yet, so I think he's started just getting his first offers now. He was not a star at Cathedral last year. He was kind of a rotation guy there. He's going to be the guy this year, so Cathedral's a great program, hard to get on the field there early. So he's going to be a guy to watch this fall for sure, and he's going to go inside, and who knows, would an offer surprise me? Not really. I think he'll be a guy that if he isn't offered today, they're going to keep a very close eye on this fall.
Yeah, so that's interesting. A couple great names we knew coming into the day, a few that are maybe names to know for the future. It sounds like a couple names that 2 years from now could be oh, remember we saw him a couple of years ago we saw him in the summer of 2021. We've got another afternoon full of guys. We had the big men this morning. We've got the skill guys this afternoon. Anyone in particular you guys are really interested to see this afternoon?
Tryon Webb. I went to his practice a few weeks ago. He was a little limited. He got dinged a few days before, so they didn't really. He wasn't really full go. He's supposed to work out with Tony Alford here this afternoon. A top of the early 5-star guy, kind of a guy they really like, has a great relationship with Tony Alford, as we talked about a little bit this morning on the show. I want to see him go through drills and, like I said, see what they do with him. He could be a slot guy, could be a safety. They're recruiting him as a running back. Will he try some other stuff? What are they going to do with him this afternoon? That's what I want to see.
All right. Well, we'll have plenty more this afternoon coming up. Make sure you're checking out the Ask the Insider Sport at BuckeyesCoop.com. We've put up a ton of photos, videos, observations, you name it. It's up there, all in one place on our Ask the Insider Sport. Some analysis from our team of analysts. Tons of great content there. Just go to BuckeyesCoop.com. Become a member to see that Ask the Insiders board. Also, make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel, youtube.com/BuckeyesCoop. Hit that subscribe button, and then you get notified every time we post a new video. We've been posting a bunch of videos today. We'll have a bunch of videos later tonight as we sort of assemble the little pieces of video we've done into, like here's a reel of all of these guys we just talked about. That'll just all be at youtube.com/BuckeyesCoop. So just hit that subscribe button, and you will be able to get notified every time we post a new video. That'll do it for now. We'll see you guys on the Ask the Insiders board, and we will probably be back. We'll have another update on all this camp stuff on the Wednesday morning Scoop podcast as well. So we'll see you guys then.